out in Oklahoma. Now,
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. As you know, I'm sure, there are a couple of different ways that you can blow up your toilet.
I'm sure there are, but I haven't thought about blowing up my toilet.
I've thought about it a lot, actually. And I think my favorite method would involve a burrito and a milkshake. I mean, explosive.
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, when you take one, I mean, absolutely. Blowing up a toilet, I blow up my toilet all the time.
So,
Video game news. Video game. Yeah.
Wait a second. Trent, there was an angel. Did you hear that? What an amazing voice. What was that?
I did. And that intro gets me every time. Video game. Yeah.
Super Radio Brothers.
It's time for the Super Radio Brothers. I think the one just had an accident.
Truer words have never been said, Mr. Space Ghost. Thank you very much. Broadcasting from strategic locations all across the empire, and dare I say, our hearts also in many different locations here tonight with the NHL playoffs going on, the NBA playoffs, so a lot of rooting interest across the sporting world spectrum. It is the Super Radio Brothers. What is up, Mr. Trent?
What is up, Rich? It felt weird not doing a show last week, but you know what? That was last week. It is history. Now we are back on the air. This is my first show being a college graduate, ladies and gentlemen. So the Super Radio Brothers just got smarter and more sophisticated.
You know what? I'm not even sure if I could speak to you anymore. I understood maybe 50% of what you just said. I have to be honest.
Typical. I'm surprised you understood 50%.
It wasn't very clear to me. I'm going to be honest right now, Trent. I'm going to have to ask you to dumb it down for the rest of us, okay?
Okay, all right, if I may. That's a lot of work. And I need to save my energy. I need to save my energy for some actual good stuff.
So we didn't do a show last week. I thought, it feels like it was 2 months ago the last time we did a show, and but it's only been a week.
I don't like missing weeks.
Yeah. So, but hey, we are back after only 1 week missed, and this is officially underway, the 301st episode for the Super Radio Brothers. Trent Ferguson, right now, your heart is in another place. It's in Tampa Bay, actually in South Florida. Further South Florida, with the Florida Panthers in their second game of the series, their Stanley Cup playoffs. The Panthers and the Lightning tied in a 1-1 tie as we record this show in the third period. I know that's where your heart really is right now and what you're thinking about.
Oh, absolutely. And so far, so good for the Lightning. You look at it's kind of a couple of different paces from game one. In game one, Tampa Bay around this time was kind of up 2-1, and then they've just inched away from the Panthers a little bit. But this is a different game. You looked at Florida came out with energy and intensity. Florida also came out with they were an angrier team tonight than they were coming into the series, which they were pretty angry in game one too. But they were throwing punches at the Lightning guys, and they were there was a lot of extracurricular stuff going on after plays, but everybody has settled down. Tampa Bay is trying to play their own game. They've dodged a couple of huge bullets, I should say, with different icings and turnovers and stuff in their own zone. And Florida has spent a lot of time in their own zone. It kind of reminds me of the NFL kind of playing keep away when they keep getting first down after first down. Well, the Panthers, it was kind of just use that scenario in hockey. The Panthers.
Well, let me give you a more biased approach to your Lightning Florida Panthers analysis there, Trent. I'm going to give you some professional hockey analysis. All right, on your Tampa Bay Lightning and Florida Panthers. Check it, bro. I think the Panthers uniforms look better. I'm just saying. They look a little cooler, a little sporty. Like if I was going to go out and rock a hockey jersey, going out on the town, South Beach, talking about Miami, places like that. If I was going to sport a hockey jersey, going to the club, I think it would be a Florida Panther jersey, not a Tampa Bay Lightning jersey. It looks a little cooler to me. I'm just saying.
I'm glad you're not one of the hockey commentators on TV. I tell you.
That would be my. Take a look at this replay here, Mr. Carroll. What do you think about this 4-on-5 power play? Well, Bob, the Panthers clearly had better designers. And I mean, look at that uniform. It's beautiful. It's got the nice big.
Beautiful.
It has the cat there, the panther.
It's beautiful, and the Tampa Bay Lightning. It's got they got some wrinkles in their uniforms tonight. That's why the wrinkles kind of signify the wrinkles in their game. So that's probably what.
I question, Trent, if they even got to do their laundry before the game. That's how bad the Tampa Bay Lightning look in their uniforms right now. And some of them, maybe it was left in the dryer too long, look a little small. I'm just saying, it doesn't fit properly. So they look like a bunch of misfits out there, Trent. It's actually the Lightning.
You just gave me some images that I had never had before. So.
The Lightning on the power play right now. 90 seconds left in the power play. They have it in the Panther zone right now. Back and forth. The shot. Save. Oh, my. And that'll stop play with 1:21 left in the power play for the Tampa Bay Lightning. A beautiful save by the Panther goalie there, Trent. I mean, it was very nice. The one-time shot from number 91 of the Tampa Bay Lightning.
And both these goalies are very good tonight. Andrei Vasilevsky and the goalie for the Panthers as well. So, but what I was saying earlier about the Panthers spending a lot of time in the Lightning zone, I used kind of the down and distance example from the NFL to illustrate kind of what is going on in hockey. The more time that the opposing team spends in the other team's zone, the more scoring opportunities they have. So Florida's had a lot of scoring opportunities. They've outshot Tampa Bay, but hey, you know what? You can outshoot a team all you want, but if you outscore them on the scoreboard, you win. And Tampa Bay has the opportunity to do this. And boy, if they go up 2-0, Rich, that's going to be very, very exciting, especially because yours truly is going to be at Game 4 Monday night. The Super Radio Brothers will be represented at Amalie Arena on Monday night when the Tampa Bay Lightning battle the Florida Panthers in Game 4. I am going to be pumped up. I'm going to have no voice. I hope my voice recovers by next Thursday because I may not have much of a voice if the Lightning win that series.
That is massive news. First of all, I do want to say no other podcast, Trent, can outshoot the Super Radio Brothers. So just to throw that out there as well. You don't outshoot the Super Radio Brothers. That's number one. And that is a huge revelation, big time off the couch report here early in the show from Trent Ferguson. You're going to be at Game 4 between the Lightning and the Florida Panthers. Trent, that is a playoff game. What would you say? First of all, two questions. Is that your first ever playoff game? And number two, before this game, what was the most exciting sporting event you have ever attended? Go.
The first answer is yes. And the most exciting sporting event I have attended. I've attended a lot of interesting sporting events. I attended a lot of close games. I've attended a lot of very good Rays and Yankee matchups over the years, especially when the Rays blew them out last year whenever I was at Tropicana Field
snap.
I don't even remember
July.
That. I know. You don't remember that because that's a game you wanted to forget.
When the Yankees lose, I kind of black out. It's like it didn't happen, and I just try to move on because I would. That's why that Yankee game against Baltimore today was so beautiful. Yeah, did they play today? No, I don't even know what you're talking about. But it's almost like thinking about your own impending doom, your own death. I can't think about the Yankees losing it. It hurts too much, Trent. It hurts too much.
Yeah, no, I understand. But the second answer to your second question, the most exciting sporting event I've ever attended, you got to go back to December 12th of, not very far back. You got to go, less than 6 months ago to when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers took on the Buffalo Bills at Raymond James Stadium. Looked early on that the Buccaneers were going to go. It was Tom Brady versus Josh Allen, and the Bucs cruised. Tom Brady threw a few touchdown passes. He got me some excellent fantasy points that week, by the way, because many of my other players didn't step up. So Tom Brady picked up the slack and, helped me get in the playoffs. But Buffalo came back to tie that game, and it was sent to overtime. And Tampa Bay, I think Buffalo got the ball, and Tampa Bay stopped them on defense. And then they kind of traded possessions a while back, and then Tampa Bay got the ball. They had like a third down, and next thing you know, Rashad Perryman caught a 56-yard touchdown pass to walk it off, if you will, and basically send the Buffalo Bills packing. And that was just a beautiful game, and I'll never forget. I was listening to Mean Gene, the Talking Machine, on the Buccaneers, a.k.a. Gene Deckerhoff, on the Buccaneer Radio Network, and he was going, Perryman, Perryman touchdown, Tampa Bay, fire them cannons. And like, Rich, no joke, dude. My voice cracked for like 3 days after I was at that game because I was screaming at the top of my lungs. It was just so fun to watch.
It's amazing to be at a sporting event, especially when you're a big fan of the team that you're watching. And, it's almost indescribable in a moment like that. The emotion, the collective emotion you feel with the people around you, right?
Oh, man, there were Buccaneer fans high-fiving each other. Unfortunately, we sat next to a few Bills fans, and they were, they weren't as loud, especially during that moment. But it was fun to kind of hear them play All I Do Is Win by DJ Khaled on the loudspeakers and hear them, fire the cannons after the game, and just the atmosphere outside the stadium. People would just start randomly cheering. They would go, Tampa Bay, Tampa Bay. They were just they weren't going Tampa Bay. They were going Champa Bay, CHAMPA BAY.
Champa Bay, Champa.
Yeah. They were screaming, and it was so fun. I mean, it was great, and I hope we have a similar atmosphere on Monday whenever I'm at Amalie Arena.
Well, I've spent a lot of my life going to sporting events, and been to a lot of Major League Baseball playoff games, World Series games, NBA playoff games, finals. A couple of NFL playoff games, not a lot. I would say the most exciting NFL game I've ever been to, I believe it was 2011 or 2009. I forget which Rex Ryan Jet year that was, but we actually got tickets to see the Jets and the Cincinnati Bengals on Thanksgiving. And that was super cool to go to a Thanksgiving game. And the Jets were good that year. And it was extremely exciting because the year before they had gone to the AFC Championship game. So there was a lot of excitement for this season. And that was late in the year, obviously. And it was a big game. And I don't remember but the Jets had to win. And actually, that season, they ended up beating Cincinnati in that game on Thanksgiving. But then they take on Cincinnati again in the first round of the playoffs, and they beat them again in the playoffs. But that atmosphere felt like a playoff atmosphere. It was supercharged. People were pumped up. I mean, carrying people on their shoulders, walking through the stadium, chanting, JETS, the whole thing. That was one of the most supercharged crowds I've ever been a part of. That was really, really impressive. By far for me, the best moment of my sports fandom is the 98 World Series Game 1. I've never been a part of anything like that. That was the most incredible thing I've ever been able to witness and be a part of. That Yankee team is widely considered the greatest team of all time, 114 regular season wins. When you tally up the regular season and the postseason, they finished that year 125-50. 75 games over 500. I mean, the team literally didn't lose, and they were something to watch. And in that game 1 of the 98 World Series, they're actually losing 5-2 in the 7th inning, and the Yankees would score 7 runs in that 7th inning, a 7-run 7th to win the first game. But the way they did it, they're losing 5-2. Chuck Knobloch hits a 3-run home run, and then, of course, the moment Tino hits a grand slam. And that old place, that building that's been standing since 1923, yes, had the renovations in 76, but that building that's been standing since 1923, I mean, when Tino hit that grand slam, that place was shaking, literally. I've never heard a place so loud. And I'll never forget just feeling that emotion of everybody around you, and you're high-fiving everybody. And that was the moment where I turned around and I looked down, and there were 2 people slumped over with their heads in their hands with all their San Diego Padre gear on.
Wow.
That was an incredible moment. And I know I will never, unless by some miracle the Jets make it to the Super Bowl and I go, and they have some kind of incredible win, there's no way for the rest of my life that I will ever experience a moment like that at a sporting event again, especially the fact that, The old stadium is gone now. You got the new Yankee Stadium there, and it is a different feel there. Sometimes you even watch some of the footage of those years, the World Series games in the late 90s and even the 70s. You know, it was just different in that ballpark. It was louder. It was grittier. It was different. What an incredible save by the Panther goalie there, by the way, with 4:02 left in the third period. I mean, that was headed for the upper left-hand corner of the goal, and with his glove hand, the Panther goalie able to save the game right there. Amazing save. Sorry, Trent.
Oh, that's okay.
Slap shot by Pallet, number 18, and I mean the glove hand.
His name is Palat.
Palat.
Andre Palat.
Well, what do you want?
Hey,
put Palat on a pallet.
Hey, Andre Pallet. Okay, that's his name, Mr. Pallet. Okay, Pallet.
I like to say Pallet. I bet you that's how he actually pronounces it. So
I'm sure. Hey, my name is Andre Pallet, and I'm from the South. You know, Andre Palat. He is not from the South.
Well, Mr. Pallet was almost a hero, if not for the glove hand of the Florida Panther goalie. I'm just saying.
I love making fun of you when it comes to pronouncing. Well, I like making fun of you for a lot of reasons, but number two,
you always make fun of me, Trent. I'm about to become a super radio crybaby.
Yeah, don't do that. Whatever you do, but it's so fun because you know the pronunciation of names, like in hockey. You know, I know you just kind of got into it. It's funny. It's great because people don't watch hockey on a regular basis. It's pretty funny to hear them watch.
Oh my God! Like I've maybe here we go. I'm trying to do play-by-play and describe a hockey game, and maybe I've watched half a game this year. So,
yeah. And then there's like there's like Nemesnikov. That's a hard name to pronounce. Or
I think I could do the coughs. I'm pretty good with the coughs. Other name like Pallet gives me a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
That gives that does it.
I'm just gonna go up to a random Lightning fan. You just gave me a great idea. On Monday, whenever I get to the game, I'm gonna go up to a Lightning fan and ask who their favorite player is. And if they ask me the same question, I'm gonna say Andre Pallet and just see what they do. I'm gonna record it.
What I should do is for the rest of this game, I should try to read everybody's name on the back of their jersey and see if I nail it.
Good luck, folks. If you don't want to hear Rich try to nail names, I would fast forward to this.
I'm gonna nail it. I'm so good. C. Perry. See, I got that one. Perry. Perry. I got that one. I'm good. I got this hockey thing. Come on,
Andre Pallet.
I'm so talented. Yeah. So yes, you're hanging out with the Super Radio Brothers. It's and that's the toilet. Excuse me. It is a playoff night with the NBA playoffs and the NHL playoffs. Trent's beloved Tampa Bay Lightning in a 1-1 tie with the Florida Panthers as we start the news. And of course, Trent, we always start with the poop news. That's
absolutely. I hope it's not poop news when the. At the end of this game, because that could be a poop story if the Lightning end up blowing a 1-0 lead and end up losing the contest. I just jinxed it. I can't say that.
Oh, I'm pumped up. I want to hear your live reaction of pain once they lose here, or if they lose, I should say.
You might hear SOB. No, you won't hear any of that.
If you need a shoulder to cry on, I'm sure our audience is more than willing to be that shoulder for you, if that's what.
Yeah.
Oh, and Trent, by the way, the Florida Panthers are going on a 2-minute power play with 3:23 left in the game. So,
thanks.
Big time moment here.
Our penalty kill's been pretty decent lately, so we'll see.
Big time moment here at the end of this playoff game, and a big time moment for some people, Trent, out in Oklahoma now.
Oklahoma.
As you know, I'm sure there are a couple of different ways that you can blow up your toilet. You know,
I'm sure there are, but I haven't thought about blowing up my toilet.
I've thought about it a lot, actually, and I think my favorite method would involve a burrito and a milkshake. I mean, explosive.
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, when you take one, I mean Yeah, absolutely. Blowing up a toilet. I blow up my toilet all the time.
So there you go. Thanks for that, Trent. It happens often. You know, it's. I don't think about it a lot. However, it does happen often. So why do you have to think about it when it's actually happening?
A burrito and a milkshake. Okay, I'll try that next time.
I mean, that's gonna get it done, dude. That's you know that toilet's done. You're gonna have to go to Home Depot right after that whole thing.
This is poop news, literally. Right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is what we do here, Trent. I don't know if you're familiar, but anyway, how about this? Talk about a truly explosive situation. Lightning. Speaking of the Tampa Bay Lightning destroyed a single toilet in an apartment building in Oklahoma. Whoa, come on. That's amazing. That toilet was cursed, man. Now, I know what you're thinking. Yeah. I know what you're thinking, Trent. No one was sitting on the toilet. So
yeah, I would hope not. Nobody was sitting on the toilet. Absolutely. Yeah, that would be strange. Yeah. But I mean, it's crazy. I mean, lightning blowing up a toilet. I mean, you don't think about it every day, but it can happen. I mean, that's people coming up with innovative ways to try to blow up their toilets. But I mean,
according to Fox 8, severe tornadoes and thunderstorms in parts of Oklahoma and Texas caused significant damage to some areas. In Okmulgee, a town near Tulsa, lightning took a different route, first striking the roof before coming through an exhaust fan and hitting one particular toilet inside an apartment unit. So I guess it traveled through the exhaust and then struck the toilet. A lightning bolt, Trent, as if it was sent by Zeus himself to strike that toilet. That's incredible. Come on, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, how about this, Trent? Did you know that photos, this might be the world's most famous toilet now, photos of the toilet have now taken the internet by storm. Get what I did there? And taking the internet by storm. I know, it's so good.
It's very innovative.
They show the toilet completely destroyed with charred pieces of it scattered across the floor below a black hole in the ceiling. So, wow. The Okmulgee fire lieutenant, Trent, he says that the incident is unexplainable, and the Tampa Bay Lightning score with 0.9 seconds left in the game.
Yeah, boy.
Wow. That is dramatic as it gets.
Oh, let me turn on the radio. Let me see if I can hear, this is, you can pronounce this guy's name.
Than a second left. Because
Lightning. It's Ross Colton scored the goal. That's an easy name to pronounce.
I was about to nail it. You didn't give me a chance.
I know.
Colton.
Holy crap.
Wow. How does that happen? Less than a second left. Oh, my goodness.
And it was all set up by Nikita Kucherov, too. And the Tampa Bay Lightning with 0.9 seconds. We could be up 2-0, baby. We're about to be. We're about to be. And all the experts, you're getting my live reaction right now. All the experts saying, "Oh, this is gonna be."
How come in your live reaction you turn into Howard Cosell or something? It's like, and yes, we have won the game. Do you do that?
We have won the game.
You went into your classic announcer voice. He was like, I got confused. I was like, whoa, Trent turns into a different person when his team wins. They're actually putting 3.8 seconds back on the clock, but still, give me a break. This game is over.
We still have this in the bag, boys.
This is done. The face-off will be at the center circle. Oh, my goodness. It's over, Trent. How do you feel?
Great. I mean...
That's it? I mean...
Great. No, I mean, seriously. I mean, Florida had that goal that, like I said, the penalty kill has been great. Leading up to that goal, it was a fantastic, gorgeous heads-up plays by the Lightning. Just really made some excellent plays down the stretch. And, hey, they circumvented their iffy play early on with the game winner. And they're up 2-0.
I'm going to need you, Trent, to take my call there, which I think was top notch, my goal call, and get it to the Tampa Bay people just so they can hear what they got here. Because let's be honest,
I mean,
that was an amazing call.
Can I put your goal call somewhere where, like, possibly the sun don't shine? Potentially.
Dude, come on! You gotta give me some credit here. I was able to deliver the moment to you. You know.
Oh, you were. I know, and I thank you.
I put my heart into that call, Trent. I really did. I gave you my all. I gave you everything I got with that call.
You did, but I'm gonna have to go back later and listen to the radio call. You know, the radio call is gonna be.
No, you don't have to, because you just heard the best possible.
The Tampa Bay Lightning score. Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah.
Oh man, even though they look pathetic walking off the ice, man, those Panther jerseys are really nice. I dig them.
Thanks. So what were you saying about your photos now? You were in the middle of a story and all of a sudden the lightning...
Well, I told you about the toilet that got destroyed by a lightning bolt. And according to the Okmulgee Fire Lieutenant, his name, by the way, of course, if you're the Okmulgee Fire Lieutenant, your name is Rocky Morrow. What a name. Trent, I've got big time news for you in the audience. I'm changing my name. Guess what I'm changing it to? Rocky Morrow. It can't just be Rocky. You need the whole package there. It has to be Rocky Morrow. Because they're basically telling people that there's going to be a rocky day tomorrow. Rocky Morrow. That quite literally might be the best name of all time. Fire Lieutenant Rocky Morrow. He called the incident unexplainable, Trent. So maybe it's an X-File, possibly aliens. There's a couple of different places you can go with that. But anyway, there you go. A toilet inexplicably was destroyed by lightning, yet somehow we aren't talking about this. Well, I guess we are.
You know what we are talking about? A homeowner witnessed a burglar come into his house, and the reason he tried to rob his house is because he was afraid of zombies. Zombies were trying to attack this guy. A homeowner in the UK woke up at 3 a.m. to the sound of someone looking through cabinet drawers in their house. The homeowner investigated and found a man in his living room. When the burglar spotted the homeowner, he ran but came back, explaining that zombies were trying to get him and he felt uncomfortable outside. By then, the homeowner's son was outside, and by the time he came back, of course, the homeowner's son woke up, and the two of those guys held him until police arrived.
Well, now, I want to know, was he being chased by Romero zombies or 28 days later Danny Boyle zombies? Does it have that information there, Trent? It's very important.
It is unfortunately not. I need to contact the author and say that was a pivotal point in the story that they left out.
It's because Trent, the Romero zombies are like a walking corpse. I mean, very slow moving, decrepit, falling apart. You can run around them. The only way a Romero zombie is going to be a challenge and a danger is in numbers. If I got like 5 Romero zombies coming after me, I can outrun them. I'm going to get away. Now, if there are 200 of them, 400 might still survive, but it's going to be a bit tougher. That's what makes the Romero zombie a challenge, Trent. However, the Danny Boyle 28 days later zombie is not actually a zombie. They are infected. You might say, infected by what? And I would say, infected by rage. They're infected by rage, Trent. And basically, the Danny Boyle 28 days later zombie is a super athlete. I mean, they run faster than you. They jump. They're jumping through freaking buildings and shit. It's the most scary thing ever. And if someone were to tell me, Rich, would you rather deal with 100 Romero zombies or 2 Danny Boyle 28 days later zombies? I'm dealing with the 100 Romero zombies. Because if I have to face 2 Danny Boyle crazy 28 days later zombies, you know what's going to happen? I'm going to die.
Your existence is going to be questionable.
I'm going to die because those things are They're these super athlete zombies. So when I hear a story about a man being hunted by zombies, I need to specifically know what kind of zombies we're dealing with here, so that I can appropriately and adequately give you survival advice. It's extremely important.
Taking any kind of advice from you is questionable, but
maybe not on this, Trent. Not on this. I am an expert on all things zombie.
That's excellent, man. You know what? People have people are experts in many different areas. I now know that you're an expert in zombies, and if I ever have a question about zombies, Rich Carroll will be the only individual that I'll go to get those questions answered, because you know anything and everything there is to know, even about just a zombie that you discovered for the first time.
I am one of the world's leading minds on the subject. Go no further than here on the Super Radio Brothers when looking for your zombie information, survival tips.
That's a great advertisement.
It's all right here, Trent. So you can't. The people that write the movies don't know as much as me. It's just fact. It's fact.
You need to be up there with them.
It's also a fact that if you try to drive through wet concrete, you're not going to go anywhere.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Well, that's what we're here for. I'm trying to tell you what's going on out there. A woman is facing charges after she basically destroys a construction project driving her car through the concrete, wet concrete, by the way. Officers with the Rochester Police Department were first called to the scene because a 53-year-old woman was using a bullhorn to yell at people from her car. That's awesome. I always wanted to do that. You know, someone cuts me off, just have a bullhorn. The hell out of my way, shithead. You know, it's whatever insult I can come up with. Yeah, just call people names.
You know, I had a friend of mine who actually legit put a train horn on his car. That is no joke. He put a train horn on his vehicle and then honked at somebody at a red light. And unfortunately, he found out that it was illegal.
I was thinking that, yeah.
Yeah, the police told him to take it off. But, I mean, that was pretty great. It's pretty innovative.
It sounds like it would be illegal. You don't want to have it. It sounds like, you know, you might cause an accident.
I mean, you know, if you're behind somebody, or if you're the guy with the train horns behind you, and all of a sudden, you know, you would, oh man, you shit your pants.
Oh yeah, if I heard a train horn behind, how did I get on the track? I would get super scared.
Oh yeah,
start looking around, get in a car accident. But yeah, this lady, she's yelling at people from her car with a bullhorn. Then the police show up. She tries to speed away, crashes through the construction site, and she drives right into the wet concrete. I mean, what an idiot. The project's contractor reported $30,000 to $40,000 in damages, and it turns out, Trent, that the woman, I guess what she says, she's spreading the word of God. That's what the newspaper said. So
well,
there are better ways. Right. There are better ways, I'm sure. So
I would agree. But hey, you know that this one. Now let me ask you this before I move on to my next story here. Okay.
All right.
I do have to ask you, whenever you're on the road and you're driving, do you ever feel enraged sometimes by drivers? Like, do you ever feel like you just want to, you know, it just depends on what kind of day you're having, but if somebody just cuts you off, is that like a trigger for one Rich Carroll? I mean,
have I ever blew up my toilet after a burrito and a milkshake? Yes.
Of course.
It goes without saying, Trent. There's plenty of times when you're on the road and another driver pisses you off. It's nothing like that really here in Florida. It's really more of a New York thing. When you drive in New York City, it's not like driving in Florida. Trying to get home through the 5 o'clock traffic rush hour is war. It's not driving. Oh, yeah. It is war. Whether you're talking about the BQE or you know, the Cross Bronx Expressway, you know, there are a lot of places in the city where on these major highways, and there are so many cars and so many people, where the lanes will go from 5 lanes, and then all of a sudden they'll go down to 3 lanes. So now everybody's trying to get in, and that is freaking war. It's just it's hard to describe. People who haven't had to drive through it don't really understand what it is. But I used to have to drive from Brooklyn to the Bronx every day for a time to go to and from work, and that was a 2-hour commute every day, and it was 2 hours of war. So there were plenty of people that I got upset with.
I can imagine.
Flipped off and yelled at, and for sure.
Oh man, I can imagine. Yeah, hey, it's always interesting to hear New York stories and stuff like that.
Driving in New York is not fun. It's and like I said, if you're driving during rush hour trying to get home, that's not driving. That's war. And I tell a lot of people the difference between driving in New York and say driving in Florida. In Florida, it's what I call non-stressful driving. It's just
I bet like Orlando traffic is nothing to you compared to New York.
No, I laugh at that. Although it does, now that I've been in Florida for a while, if I go down to Orlando in that stretch of I-4, it'll annoy me, and I'll get. But still, it's nothing compared to the wars that await you on, like I said, the Cross Bronx or the BQE or you name it. The Bruckner Expressway. Go up and down the list. There's a war waiting for you if you're on the highway at a certain time, and it is not fun. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, let's move on from driving and talk about a disgruntled man setting fire.
Don't talk about me like that, Trent. Oh wait, I'm not the disgruntled man you're talking about. Oh,
you are disgruntled, but no, this is not you.
Maybe I jumped the gun there a little bit. By the way, since we were giving some sports updates and all of that, NBA playoffs halftime, Game 2 between the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics. The Celtics returning the favor so far here, 70-45 at the end of the first half, Trent.
Damn.
Boston Celtics up 20 points from Jason Tatum. Welcome back, Marcus Smart. And Jaylen Brown also had 15 points to add to the fun for the Boston Celtics in the first half there. So it looks like
Rich Terrell had nothing.
No, I had 0 points, but you know what? I got like 50 style points, bro. Just
50
saying.
Style.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. Well, if you're a Lightning fan tonight, you're really dancing on it for sure. There's no question about that.
You won, but those jerseys are a little plain. A little plain, just gonna throw that out there.
Oh man, that's that's awesome. Okay, so this is a man that's very disgruntled. He sets fire and urinates on an ATM. Can you believe that?
Fire. Anytime I hear sets fire and urinates, I immediately know I'm gonna get the greatest story of all time.
Well, here,
dude, right now it's like I need to set a fire, but I also have to pee. Solution: I'm gonna set fire and urinate.
Set fire to the rain.
Fire and urinate. It's the best thing to participate.
Okay.
Set fire and sorry, Trent.
A 19-year-old man was detained in China after he set an ATM on fire and urinated on the flames.
What part was he arrested for?
Again, it doesn't say.
You see, Trent, that's why I'm a news guy. I have all the right questions,
Well, I wish you were interviewing these people because they leave a lot of stuff out in their articles.
Oh my goodness, they need to do better. They just need to do better.
They really do. Kind of like your team.
Which one?
The Knicks. Thankfully, they're not playing right now. But your Knicks could.
By the way, we are going to get to sports. I'm sure you're going to have the NBA draft lottery in your sports and everything coming up here.
They won the lottery. They're number one.
Yeah. So I'm sure you're going to talk about that. But the Knicks did not win the lottery. Spoiler. So Okay. All right. Yep. The Knicks have to be better. We've been saying that for 20 years, Trent.
Well, yeah, the Knicks and the Jets. I mean, I can't really say much about the Yankees right now because they're unfortunately on fire, which we'll talk about later on.
Yankees off to a historically good start. Not since 1998, the season I so fondly spoke about earlier, have the Yankees been off to this kind of start. Yankees are now, I think it's 29-10. In 98, when they won the 114 regular season games, the Yankees were 31-9. So this year, 29-10. That year, they were 31-9. So pretty much right on that super wild, crazy type of pace.
Hopefully, the Rays will take care of you next weekend.
So we will see. Rays always play the Yankees tough. There's no doubt.
Yeah. So, but anyway, what other stories you have?
What else do we have here? I'm just going to say this before I start this story, Trent. I'm loving it. What does that mean to you?
Nothing.
You could literally hear a voice of an angel say, I'm loving it. And that would mean nothing to you?
I mean, that's a good question. I don't know. I hadn't heard that. I mean, I've heard, I've never heard it sung like that. But I've always heard, I'm loving it.
That's the McDonald's theme song, right? Isn't that what they say?
That's right.
I'm loving it.
Yeah,
but I must have been such a good singer.
I'm loving it.
Yeah. You just didn't recognize it because I could sing so good. And I'm so really good with my voice at singing.
Shit.
So I understand how you didn't get it right away. But how about this, right? Rob and Grace Jones, you know them?
Oh, yeah.
You do? I'm shocked by the answer. Who are they? Because I don't know who they are. I'm what am I reading here?
They're just two guys.
Rob and Grace Jones wanted to replace a built-in toilet paper holder in their home in Crystal Lake, Illinois. Simple, right? Simple, very simple. Yeah. This happened on April 16th. Well, it wasn't so simple because it required them to cut into the wall of their bathroom. And what did they find when they opened up that wall, Trent?
Oh, no.
They found a towel. And that towel contained 2 McDonald's hamburger wrappers and a full order of French fries, vintage 1959.
Wow.
How about that?
Ugh.
And it was perfectly preserved, the French fries. And they ate them with ketchup, and it was delicious, and only one person got sick.
And who was that person?
I think the one just had an accident. No, they didn't eat the French fries, Trent. I made up half of that, but the story's real.
Sure you did. Hey, man, that's pretty interesting, though. I mean, from 1959. I mean, that's why. Now, there's nothing like, of course, I'm used to the McDonald's from, the early 2000s. And,
I'm loving it.
Yeah, it's still pretty much the same.
Trent, you ever see the movie Super Size Me?
I've heard of it, yes. I've never seen it, but,
That's the movie where back in the day, McDonald's had supersizing. You ever hear of supersizing?
Oh, yeah. Whenever you do like an extra large, like the largest you can get, like drink and order fries. And
you get basically you show up, and they got medium, large, and supersize. And if you say, okay, supersize me, they basically give you a bucket of soda, a bucket of fries to go with your burger. I mean, it was huge. Well, this dude in Supersize Me, he says, you know what I'm going to do? The filmmaker, he says, I'm going to eat McDonald's for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the entire month, and I'm going to supersize every meal. And at the end of the month, he got super sick. And he kind of documents the whole thing in that movie. And as a result of that movie, McDonald's, that's how they stopped the whole supersize thing.
Right.
That movie kind of forced their hand. So you're making people unhealthy. Maybe supersizing isn't such a great idea. So anyway, but these burgers existed long before the supersize era, Trent. They were talking about 1959 French. I wonder, that's one of the cool things people don't talk about. People always talk about time travel. Do I want to go back in time? Maybe step into Yankee Stadium in 1923 opening day and see Babe Ruth whack a home run out of the park. Maybe I could go back in time and see that. Well, let me ask you that, Trent. If you ever had a chance to go back in time, is there an era you would want to check out?
Let's see. I'm a fan of music from the late 60s, 70s, and into the 80s. I've heard a lot of interesting things went down at Woodstock. And people who lived through Woodstock
that's a good
don't even remember it. If they say if you lived through Woodstock, you don't even remember it.
Right.
The
60s in general, I guess,
Oh yeah, I'd love to check out the 60s in general. You had 1960. Yeah, you had all those kind of different things. You had like classic cars come out from the 60s, and it was pretty.
You give a good one there though. Woodstock's a great one, and a lot of people who are music people would say, I want to go back to Woodstock. I want to see Hendrix on stage doing the national anthem and that whole thing, and just Janis Joplin, the whole thing. Just go back there and experience Woodstock and all the amazing performances that took place over that weekend in upstate New York. Really, the most famous music festival of all time. Through the years here, growing up, I've gone to many Lollapaloozas, Warp Tours, things like that. But now they have Coachella, right? That's the big thing. But all of those things exist because Woodstock made it successful. To have a weekend music festival, legendary musicians performing, and there are a couple of stories, people who could have went and were advised not to perform at Woodstock, and they regret it to this day because it's such a legendary music festival. But you hit on something there, because a lot of people who you ask, hey, if you had a chance to go back in time, what would you go back in time and see? And if you're a music guy, Woodstock is definitely what you would point to. Or someone like me, if you're a Yankee fan, you would talk about going back to opening day 1923, see Babe Ruth open the new Yankee Stadium with a home run. That would be something to check out and see, and just get the different senses of the stadium, the smells, because, you see pictures from baseball games in the 20s and 30s. You got guys smoking cigars out there, everybody's wearing a suit. It'd be interesting to see what it would be like to be at a game at that time. I love history. So there are so many eras I would like to go back and check out. Definitely, first century Rome would be something that would be interesting, just as Athens also. But I think my whole point getting into this was people talk about errors or specific events like you did with Woodstock that you'd like to go back in time and check out. How about food? I want to see what McDonald's tasted like in 1959. You know what I'm saying? I want to see what a taco tasted like in 1933. That's interesting to me. How different does food taste today compare? Does McDonald's fries in 1959 taste like they do in 2022? It's a very interesting question to me, Trent.
See, I couldn't, because I don't go to McDonald's all that often, but whenever I do, I like the I indulge in their fries. Just so good.
I wonder, maybe the burgers tasted more, I don't know, like home burgers or something. I'm sure it has to taste different. Food
burgers
back
there
then
so
has
small.
to taste different, man. You know what I mean?
The burgers there these days are so small.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's all bread. Now you have to pay extra to have meat. You know that?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It's like basically, can I get a cheeseburger and like 90% of it's bread and like 10% of it's meat and cheese? It's pretty bad. And all the other fixings that you have on it.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it.
But anyway, on from that, I need to ask you, and this will be my wrap up story here. I need to ask you, Rich, what is the weirdest compliment you've ever received?
The weirdest?
Because I have a list here that I want to share with you.
One time someone told me I have diarrhea of the mouth, and I took it as a compliment. So,
I would agree with that, but that's okay. Well, there are 6 compliments here that are some of the weirdest that you'll ever come across.
All right.
You look like you read books for fun.
Yeah, that's weird.
You ate that apple very neatly. Your handwriting is very satisfying. Your teeth are so flat. And I'm sorry.
That one I don't get. Every other one before your teeth are so flat would be an odd compliment. I like the other one so far, though. So
yeah, that was it.
Let's go over them, Trent. Go back to the first one. What was the first one you said?
You look like you read books.
You look like, but what was it? Having fun while reading books? What was the first one?
It was like you look like you read books constantly or something. Hold on, let me go back to it. My bad.
Yeah. Just go back to that first one there. Let's go back here.
Okay, all right. Let's go back here. If I can get my thing to move backwards. Let's see. Okay. You look like you read books for fun.
You look like you read books. Trent, that one, I would get it, and I would think that's a good compliment because reading is boring. I think we all agree. It's extremely boring and a waste of time. So I agree. That would be a great compliment to me.
Oh, yeah.
We all
Especially
agree.
whenever I was a kid, I thought that.
Yeah. So what's the next one?
The next one is you ate that apple very neatly.
Let's be honest. You ever watch a person eat an apple, it's pretty disgusting. All right?
Yeah.
Don't eat that apple with your hands, bro. Cut into pieces and enjoy it neatly. All right? I don't want to see someone slobbering all over an apple. That is a great compliment. I don't think it's weird at all. What's the next one, Trent?
And I'm sure that you've read some terrible handwriting. So whenever somebody tells you that your handwriting is very satisfying, I'm sure that actually does satisfy you.
If someone said that to me, I would say, who are you talking to? Because my handwriting is legitimately awful. So I don't think I would ever receive. Yeah, I don't think I would ever receive that compliment. But
I'm glad I don't have to read it.
But I do think that's a very good compliment. And what I think there was one more, right?
Yeah, and then the last one was your teeth are so flat. Now that I don't understand.
That I don't get. Like, what am I, a dinosaur? You're shocked? Like, what am I supposed to have? Round teeth? What's going on here? You know what I mean? Like, what does that even mean?
I can understand, like, if they weren't straight. I mean, that, like, you got
flat.
crooked teeth.
Yeah, I don't get that one, Trent. That one's the other ones I thought were great. I didn't find anything weird about those at all. How about this, Trent? You know what? Scientists. This is truly remarkable, and this is one of the things where I look at the world and I wonder why this isn't bigger news than it actually is. We seem to concern ourselves with the oddest things as a human species, but according to this, for the first time, scientists have grown plants in soil from the moon, collected by NASA's Apollo astronauts. They've actually been able to sprout and grow plants out of lunar soil. Holy cow! I mean, that's pretty incredible.
Holy cow!
Now, if we could just get some cows up on the moon, give some compost, poop everywhere, fertilizer, we'll start growing shit all over the moon. It'll be great. But this is an incredible, and it's so amazing that you don't think about these things, but this is moon soil returned by Apollo 11's Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin. You ever hear of those guys? Only like the most famous astronauts of all time, the original moonwalkers, even before Michael Jackson. All right. The seeds sprouted. Now, wasn't perfect. After the first week, the lunar soil stressed the small flowering weeds so much that they grew more slowly than seedlings planted in earth dirt. So, however, through science, you can add nutrients to the soil. There are ways to make it effective. So it's just another reminder that it is very possible for humanity at some point here to have a moon base. We can grow food on the moon. It's possible. And one day, Trent, I will live there.
I'm sure you will.
It's my dream, and you can't take it away from me. I'm going to live on the moon.
You got some weird-ass dreams.
And I'm going to grow apples on the moon because apples are delicious, and I eat them neatly.
I'm glad you ate that apple so neatly. By the way, do you put peanut butter on your apples? Like, are you an
that's
apple?
good. I like apples. Just about one of my favorite things is apple pie, Trent. So
of course,
delicious.
everybody loves apple pie.
Throw some ice cream on that shit. Woo! Then add a milkshake. Another explosive toilet. That's how this stuff goes down. It's very important to remind people that that's how this stuff goes down. You know, if you want that to happen, you can avoid it. You know.
Oh yeah.
If that makes
Without
any sense,
question.
Which it doesn't.
This just got
Congratulations.
weird.
You know, Trent, do you anybody in your family have one of those you know, what would they call it? Personalized license plates?
I think my granddad had one years ago, but he doesn't have it anymore. No, not currently, no. But
Do you remember what it was?
What's that?
Do you remember what it was?
No, I do not. I honestly don't.
Was it wanker?
Oh man, no.
Well, it couldn't have been wanker because that was rejected by the state of Florida. I have a list, Trent, of license plates approved and rejected in Florida.
Okay, lay it amongst me.
McNasty made it through, but Mr. Poop tragically didn't.
Okay.
All right, let's look at some of these. I like this one, Trent. So here we go. The first three designations, SXY, okay? SXY space GRMA.
Those like abbreviations? What are they?
Well, it's a license plate. So SXY GRMA, that's sexy grandma. And
oh yeah. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Okay, it makes sense.
Now,
Sexy grandma. Okay.
guess what, Trent? Here's the game we're playing. Did the state of Florida approve or disapprove sexy grandma? Go.
Disapproved.
Sexy grandma got the green light from state officials.
Wow,
Amazing.
they did.
It did. So, okay. How about this one, Trent? DOO space DOO. In my estimation, that spells doo-doo. Did the state of Florida approve for a personalized license plate? Do. You sound concerned. You're very. You're not sure where to go with this one.
Yes. Did they approve it?
It was rejected.
What?
Oh, yeah. Sexy grandma was approved, but do was rejected. Here's
Dude, it was like 10 times harmless than sexy grandma.
This might be my favorite of the group here, Trent. This one's good. The letter, okay, here we go. UID space IOT. And by my estimation, that is...
Yes, you idiot.
You idiot. Did that make the cut by the state of Florida, Trent?
Would that have your face on it if that's talking about you? Like, would that be, would your face be on that thing?
Yeah.
Like on the,
hell yeah. No, I would, it would be a picture of me pointing at the person driving behind me. You idiot.
Keeping with the pattern here, I'm kind of seeing a pattern.
All right.
So I'm going to go with the since the first one was approved and the second one was rejected, I'm going to go with the you idiot will probably be No, you know what? I'm going to say it was rejected. Was it rejected or was
it? Wow. Lock him in, Fred, at rejected. No. All right, we're going to lock you in, Trent. Rejected. Man, you see, when you start bringing strategy into the game, that improves your chances because, yes, you idiot was rejected by the state of Florida. Okay, I'll give you two more here. Okay, I'll give you two more. Another one that might be, well, let's go with this one first. Let's go with this one because this one was weird. So, SATN space LVS. That would be Satan Lives by my estimation.
Oh, yeah, okay.
SATN, very evil and inappropriate, I would say.
I would too, and I think that should have been rejected.
Trent,
I would have rejected.
That was approved by the state of Florida.
You got to be kidding.
So somehow, sexy grandma and you idiot and Mr. Poop get rejected, but somehow Satan Lives. Someone's driving around somewhere out there in the state of Florida with that license plate. So somehow
there are some exceptions made to this rule. There's no doubt about that.
One more because I really like it. This one's good. MO space STIKY. Mo Stinky. That's what I got out of it. Or it could be Mo Sticky. I'm thinking it means stinky though. Mo Stinky.
Yeah. Basically, is it saying like you stink?
Oh no! Wait, we forget about that one, Trent. This one's better. You ready? You ready for this one? This one's even better. Check it out. The letter I space GOTA space P.
I gotta pee.
I gotta pee. The greatest license plate of all time. Was that approved or rejected? I gotta pee.
Man, I would have gave it the green light.
I mean, I think that sounds cool to me. At least warn people, dude, don't tailgate. I gotta pee.
I gotta pee.
Yeah. That was rejected.
You gotta be kidding.
But someone's driving around out there. Satan Lives. It's really true, Trent. Okay. And finally, I got one more story for you here. How do you like it so far? Are you shocked by that, Trent? That whole well, let me ask you this: how about your car? Can you think of anything cool if you were to get a personalized license plate on your car? Is there anything that you would have in mind?
Let's see. If I maybe like the Yankees suck or something. That might be cool.
You have to go Yankees. You're not from Boston, bro. That is true, though. Tampa Yankees have become pretty solid rivals over the last couple years. But
I'm not from Boston, but I could say, I could write that on my license plate.
I would expect that more from a Boston fan, though, Trent.
No, I'll probably come up with some. Let me ask me that later in the show, and I want to. I'm going to think about this while I do my other stuff. While we do our other stuff here, because I'm going to come up with some clever name by the end of the show. I have to.
We are. You know what? I like it. I want to see what super clever name you come up with. My license plate
may or may not involve you. I don't know.
It should. But my license plate would be the letter RICH. Space COOL. Rich Cool.
And then people would be driving by laughing. That's what they would do. They drive by.
But they don't know me. They don't know how cool I am. That's that bullshit. I'll tell you what else. How about instead of Rich Cool, just BE space COOL.
Be cool. Okay, that sounds better.
I like that.
Yeah.
I bet you that would be approved. I think I
Rich cool. That sounds like an oxymoron.
Oh, who's that's how dare you call me a moron, Trent? That's not cool. That's not cool, bro. All right, and finally,
he's lost. He has no idea what to say.
How dare you, Trent? Call me a moron.
I know
on this show. An oxymoron at that. That's basically like instead of just being a hero, you say superhero. when someone's a moron and you call them an oxymoron, it means they're really a moron. So that's messed up. Trent. That's not cool. I'm just saying.
I just entertained myself tonight.
Finally, Trent, Australia's oldest man. You know, he's 111 years old.
Oh, man.
Can you imagine being 11 years old and you're going to live for 100 more years?
I can't imagine. No.
I mean, I'm 40 and I'm going to live 100 more years. So I can't imagine. I was just asking you.
No, I can't imagine that. That's crazy.
Right.
And I was 11 over 10 years ago. So.
Oh yeah. Sometimes I forget how super old you are.
I know.
You're like the oldest dude I know, Trent.
I'm young and happy.
Well, I won't argue with that. That's a good thing. So
yeah.
I bring this up to you, Trent, to benefit you and anyone who's listening. This man, he's 111 years old. He actually has a very specific secret to his longevity.
And that would be?
What do you think it is?
Well, a lot of people, if they live longer, a lot of people like eat healthier and exercise and kind of stay active.
No, people
and
who eat healthy and exercise die, dude. Yeah, I'm talking about something that gets you to live to 111 years old.
That's a good. I don't know.
Well, this dude, Australia's oldest man, he's 111. All right. He says that his secret to longevity, get ready, and I got to ask you if you're going to go through with this now, Trent, now that we know what the secret to living forever is. He says that his secret to his longevity is every day eating chicken brains.
Chicken brains.
Chicken brains.
Is that what you just said to me?
Chicken. He eats chicken brains, dude. He eats chicken brains out there in Australia. He says. I
mean, I like chicken, but I like the leg. I like the thigh, but I don't think I've ever eaten a brain.
Yeah, I've eaten those things too. Chicken leg, chicken breast, thigh, all very delicious. I've had the Colonel's bucket before. It's great. But no, I'm talking about a chicken's brain. All right? Retired cattle rancher Dexter Kruger, who turned 111 years old this year. He wasn't a World War II veteran, but he was around in World War II. That's saying something, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, Trent. Kruger told Australian Broadcasting Corps in an interview that his milestone can be contributed to eating chicken brains. And I'll give you his own words, Trent. Are you ready?
Yep, lay it amongst me.
Chicken brains, chicken brains. Dad, that's how a guy from Australia sounds to me. Chicken brains. They have a head. Chickens have a. Do I sound like an Australian? Is that close? It's pretty close, I think. Chicken brains. Chickens have a head, and in there's a brain, and they're delicious little things. Now, he goes on to say, Trent, that they're very small and there's only one little bite.
Oh, man.
I mean, all it takes is one little bite every day of this chicken brain, Trent, and you're going to live to 111 years old. You're going to start getting yourself some chicken brains or what?
I mean, I'm going to go to a chicken place and ask them if they have chicken brains. That's
you're going to go for it. Wow. Yeah. Okay. I thought the answer would be no, but obviously you are a very brave and adventurous individual.
Super Radio Rundown.
I personally will not be eating any chicken brain, Trent. I'd rather die before I eat some chicken brain. That's disgusting.
How about chicken legs? Do you like fried chicken legs?
That's
and
my
chicken
favorite.
thighs?
Yeah, that's my favorite. You just made me hungry.
Now, I know I'm hungry. It's late.
Now, have you ever had fried chicken legs with a milkshake and destroyed your toilet?
Absolutely.
I guess my point is basically add a milkshake to anything and you're in trouble. That's
yep.
Basically what I'm talking about here, Trent.
That's awesome.
So let's see. Super Radio Rundown. We've got some news here. We got box office numbers. Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, #1 again, Trent. That's despite a 67% decline. However, still $61 million at the box office for Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. The closest film was The Bad Guys, and that only made $6.9 million. So Doctor Strange, multiple weeks at the box office, still made 61 this past week. The Bad Guys, 6.9 million. So that just shows, I forget who said it, but you could have some of these filmmakers like Martin Scorsese be upset, oh, the superhero film is destroying film and this and that, and it's not artistic. Well, you know what? It's keeping Hollywood alive. It's keeping movie theaters alive, because it seems like the only and I don't know, are we post-pandemic yet, or are we endemic? I'm not sure.
I think we're about as normal as we can possibly be at this point, I guess.
So, but it would appear, Trent, at this point in time, that the only thing people are willing to brave the theaters for are superhero flicks. So in a way, MCU, these kind of movies, really keeping Hollywood alive. And it's well documented what Scorsese said and a couple other people. I would also say I don't necessarily think it's superhero films destroying movie theaters and Hollywood and stuff like that. I think it's streaming services. It's the serialized storytelling that people find more interesting than a 2-hour film. The people who would rather binge a show on Hulu or Disney Plus or Netflix or something like that, rather stay home and enjoy a streaming service than go to the movies and see, not great examples here, whether you're talking about The Bad Guys, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, those are children's movies, but you look at Firestarter, which is a remake of an old 1980s movie based on a Stephen King book, actually starring Drew Barrymore when she was a little kid. Pretty famous movie based on the work of Stephen King, classic horror film Firestarter. They just had a remake of that. That was #4. That made $3.8 million. Is that any worse than a superhero movie to remake a horror movie from the 80s? Did nothing. Now, a movie that's getting critical acclaim and is universally loved and near 100% on the Rotten Tomato aggregate, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Here's a movie that's basically, like I said, universally loved. That only made $3 million last week in the box office. And I know for a fact it's not streaming anywhere. The only place you can see that movie is in theaters. Recently got a wider release. And like I said, this movie is something that everybody's saying is pretty incredible. Made $3 million last week. So, look, you don't bite the hand that feeds, Trent. Scorsese, you need to think twice. You want to make another. And so here's Scorsese. That's destroying Hollywood. You released your movie, The Irishman, on Netflix. Why? And I know it was also released in theaters, but nobody's going to go see that in theaters when they can see it on Netflix. Give me a break. So let me get off my soapbox here, Trent. Talking about streaming services. We talked about on the show before the problems they're having over at Netflix. And all of
you like Netflix?
Oh yeah, I really dig Netflix. I really do. For a long time now, I was a little disappointed when they dropped the Marvel stuff because Netflix they had Daredevil and Luke Cage and Jessica Jones and Iron Fist. They had their own Marvel shows. But now Disney owns everything, and Netflix is done with the Marvel shows. And I think that has something to do with the subscriber losses, the record subscriber losses in recent times for Netflix, which is leading to some layoffs at the country. As a matter of fact, about 150 layoffs, mostly U.S.-based employees. About 150 positions out of the streamer's workforce of 11,000 are being eliminated amid a slowdown in the company's revenue growth. Netflix stock has also fallen sharply after the streamer reported last month that its global subscriber base declined by 200,000 in the first quarter. And that's the biggest drop, and the first drop, by the way, in more than a decade. So the consensus is Netflix is in trouble. Why is Netflix in trouble? Well, take a look at on the other end of that. How about Disney? Disney Plus gained 7.9 million paid customers in the first 3 months of 2022. It stands at 137.7 million, up 33% from over a year ago. Disney Plus's strong gains dispels the notion that the House of the Mouse is a competitor with Netflix, because clearly they've passed Netflix by, right? I mean, it's not even close at this point. So, but I would, and of course, you know, Disney, they own everything. So they got Hulu, ESPN. That's just a monster. It's hard to go up against that. But when I look at what both have to offer coming up here, and what is being offered currently streaming, I really think there's some good stuff with Netflix. I love Ozark. I think it's one of the great shows of all time. You can debate if you didn't like the end of season 4, which is the final season in the series. Ozark's still one of the great television shows ever. Final season available right now streaming. Big shows that came out this year. The Woman in the House Across the Street from the Girl in the Window, What a Name, was okay. I've never seen Inventing Anna, that came out in February. Russian Doll season 2, I don't even know what that is. That came out in April, but I'm looking forward to some things coming up here with Netflix. They got the new Resident Evil show, one of my favorite video games of all time. I thought the recent movie wasn't really good, and by the way, if you haven't seen the trailer yet, you can go check out the trailer on Super Radio Brothers social media, Facebook. We have it posted there. The trailer for Resident Evil looks awesome. Stranger Things season 4, which I'm not in love with after season 2. I've invested my time in the first 3 seasons, so I'll watch Stranger Things season 4. I'm pumped up for that. And the Umbrella Academy. I love the first 2 seasons big time of the Umbrella Academy. Also coming out for Netflix here, presumably sometime in the summer. Also, another Witcher series coming out. So there's a ton of stuff on Netflix that, for me, I'm going to hold on to my subscription. I really dig. Of course, Disney, has Moon Knight out right now, which for me was a complete disappointment, garbage, especially if you've read any of the source material. I hate it. But people.
Oh, yeah, I've seen your episode reviews. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Thank you, Trent. And you can check out all of my full reviews on our YouTube page, on Facebook.
You're welcome. At least I look out for you.
I appreciate that, Trent. Thank you very much. But yeah, check out my Moon Knight reviews on YouTube. The Book of Boba Fett was pretty cool. That's out streaming right now for Disney Plus. Apparently the Kardashians are in Disney because of Hulu coming up for Disney Plus. I mean, super exciting, especially if you're a comic book nerd like me. You got Obi-Wan Kenobi, of course, the Star Wars series that's coming out in a week here on May 25th. Ewan McGregor reprising his role. Hayden Christensen as well, jumping in there. So, hey, if you're a Star Wars fan, you love Obi-Wan, you're looking forward to it. But, man, they just dropped the trailer for She-Hulk, and that show looks awesome. Miss Marvel also coming out on June 8th, and Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special in December, which is really interesting because it's going to be events following Thor Love and Thunder, which is coming out here soon, but before the 3rd installment of Guardians of the Galaxy. So hard to argue that, I look at both of them. It's hard to argue that Disney Plus doesn't have a lot going on, obviously, but, I feel bad for Netflix because I think they have quality programming, but there are probably a lot of people out there, as these streaming services are it starts to add up. It gets expensive, and it's like, oh, I got cable again. I went all streaming to avoid the cable bill, but now I have to subscribe to like 7 different services. And now you're looking at it, well, do I want to keep Disney Plus or do I want to keep Netflix? And you stick with Netflix. And then you say, do I want HBO or HBO Max, or do I want to stick with Netflix? Most people are going to stick with HBO Max because guess what? HBO's Westworld Season 4, the trailer is out, one of the great shows of all time. And the interesting thing about Westworld is it doesn't come out every year. So it's been, what do they call that? Biannual, Trent. It's been a biannual show every other year. And I absolutely love Westworld. And guess when that gets released, Trent? One of my favorite shows, dropping on June 26th. You know what day that is?
Holy crap, that is a monumental day.
That is Derek Jeter's birthday. Amazing.
It's also somebody else's birthday.
Who? I forgot.
I don't know. Maybe some of the guy was maybe.
No,
maybe
of course, of course, Jeter would share birthday with one of the greatest people in the history of the planet, me. So, some of the best people in the world, Trent, have been born on June 26th. I don't know if you know that, but it's so true. It's so true. It's so.
Oh man,
true.
it is so true.
And HBO, they have Staircase. Seen a couple of episodes of that. That's going on right now. And Paramount Plus, of course, has the new Star Trek series, Strange New Worlds. This is pretty interesting. Apple reportedly filed a patent on May 3rd for the entertainment system, which could replace the view of the real world in a car with virtual environments. So instead of actually looking out of looking at the actual world, you'll have a screen there with a virtual environment, Trent. I don't know. That seems scary to me. What happens if the screen goes dead? I'm going to die.
I know.
Well, it would be a self-driving car, though. But they say it's a method of, people get motion sickness when they're looking outside of a car. This is something that can stop that. I just think it sounds like certain death, and I want nothing to do with it. But apparently, Trent, I guess the story there is Apple is looking to get into the car business. So, we have the iPod, we have the iPad, the iPhone, and maybe soon one day we'll have the iCar.
The iCar. There was I read an article years ago about people in Germany who are able to drive their cars, and they, steer the car with their eyes, so they're looking at their eyes, and no matter where their eyes go, the car goes. Wow. And you talk about the most scariest thing I've ever heard, because even whenever you're driving, your eyes are constantly moving. If you're looking at like a statue or something on the side of the road, or if you're looking at like a billboard or something, no matter what, your eyes play the role of the steering wheel in the car, and you're going to drive right off the road if you're looking at a statue on the other side of the road kind of deal.
That's pretty interesting. I've played VR games that were similar. So you would definitely have to be in the right frame of mind. But, just a technology like that could seem ridiculous. But then in practice, it might actually be more natural than you actually think. And that's why they're developing it. But because it's true, sometimes if your eyes will be distracted or off the road. But just as a driver, I would say most of the time I'm looking straight. But there are things that do sometimes distract you and make it. Yeah, can you imagine? What is that? You turn left and the whole car goes left. Oh my goodness.
Oh man.
That would be an interesting way to die.
Pew, pew, pew. Video game news. Video game. Yeah.
Wait a second. Trent, there was an angel. Did you hear that? What an amazing voice. What was that?
I did. And that intro gets me every time. Video game. Yeah.
You like that one?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's one we had one of the top voiceover guys in the industry working for us. So he was quite a pleasure to work with. Yeah, I forget his name.
That's why I said the intro gives me chills every time.
It really is. It's something to think about how amazing and how fortunate we are to have that man's voice on this show. So anyway, Moving on and not completely ignoring the greatness that we just talked about, but, you're trying to move on to other things, video game news, namely, Trent. And here's an interesting video game story. Check out this headline. It says, by the way, end of the third quarter in the Miami Heat Boston Celtics. Game 2 in Miami. The Celtics comfortably ahead 96-71. My goodness, what a beating.
I would say that's pretty much over.
What a beating going on. It's not over, but I think you said it right, pretty much. But in the NBA, you never know at around 20 points. It would take some incredible historic comeback.
The Heat have been trying to make, there are ebbs and flows. The Heat have been trying to kind of make runs here every now and then, but the Celtics have held them off, and they've held them off pretty well.
So that'll take some run if they're going to come back in that one. But check out this headline, Trent. Video games can boost children's intelligence.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Now, because a lot of people believe it's the polar opposite. People, especially the older generation, complain when children are on their video games for so long because they're like, oh, they're ruining their brains. They're doing this, they're doing that. And, children actually have research in their favor because now they can back this up where it's actually increasing brain power because it puts you in different situations. It makes you think critically if you want to win the game.
Researchers at the Karolinska Institute in Sweden have studied how the screen habits of U.S. children correlate with how their cognitive abilities develop over time. They found that the children who spend an above-average time playing video games increased their intelligence more than average, while TV watching or social media consumption had neither a positive nor a negative effect. Results published in the journal Scientific Reports, the children are spending more and more time in front of screens. How this affects their health and whether it has a positive or negative impact on their cognitive abilities are hotly debated. We know this. The recent study is linking increased intelligence in children with video game playing. On average, the children spent 2.5 hours a day watching TV. And these are the kids in the study. Spent 2.5 hours a day watching TV, half an hour on social media, and about 1 hour playing video games. Results showed that those who played more games than the average. Okay, so that's the baseline. I get it. So that's what they're looking at, an hour playing video games. The results showed those who played more games than the average increased their intelligence between two measurements by approximately 2.5 IQ points more than the average. So, Trent, this basically, what this study's telling me right now is I must be one of the smartest men on earth. Because I play way more than an hour of video games a day. So
how many hours do you normally play a day whenever you're on video? Whenever you play video games?
I think I'm genius level, Trent.
Really?
I must be. I don't. Generally, I don't hang around smart people. I mostly hang out with you. So.
Damn.
No, but I'm starting to realize that I'm even smarter than I thought, thanks to this study.
Sure. Absolutely. Hey, I hear you, man. Hanging out with me can have an impact. There's no doubt about that.
Well, sometimes I need you to dumb it down for me. I did admit that earlier. So
hey, I understand.
Yeah. What can you say?
Shit happens.
Now this story I don't understand at all. Maybe you can help me, Trent. This is pretty weird. It says,
no, I'm not going to help you after you just called me dumb. How dare you?
The time of me helping you is long gone, bro. You are on your own.
If you need any help from me, it is out the window. It is see you later.
You could get the shit out of here, bro.
Oh, gee.
Now I don't know what scientists invent mouth haptics for VR, including water, wind, and spiders. Haptics, mouth haptics. Scientists have invented mouth haptics for VR that allow users to feel different virtual experiences with their mouths. These include feeling the wind on your face while riding a bike, taking a sip from a fountain and feeling the water on your lips, and covering yourself with spiders that you'll feel running in and around your mouth. So my first question is, why would you want spiders running in and around your mouth?
I wouldn't.
That's not something that's not the VR experience you're looking for, Trent?
Nope, absolutely not.
So when partnered with virtual reality demos, the mouth haptics means that users will feel different sensations on their lips, teeth, and tongue depending on what they're doing in the game. Mouth haptics are programmed to do different things depending on the situation, including single impulses, taps, pulse trains, multiple taps in a row, swipes in the X, Y, and Z directions, moving along down and towards your mouth, and persistent vibration. I feel like almost at this point I shouldn't be reading this. This doesn't sound right. The different demos shown in future interfaces groups video include walking through cobwebs in a forest before being covered in spider venom. Why do we have to go so dark? It seems like we could use mouth haptics for better things. Drinking from a water fountain, sipping coffee, smoking a cigarette. But you know what? Smoking a cigarette, that maybe that could be like a something that helps you quit smoking, right? Imagine you could smoke in VR. Maybe that changes everything. I didn't think about that before. Also, for some reason, I want to experience in VR brushing my teeth, riding a motorbike. So there you go, Trent. They want you to. It's not just enough visually anymore. They want you to experience things with your mouth in VR.
With your mouth.
With your mouth. How about that? What do you think about that?
Well, you have diarrhea of the mouth.
That's true. That's true. And it was to me, it's a compliment. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
You're such a good friend. You're the best, Trent. Thank you for telling me I have diarrhea of the mouth.
Hey, you admitted it.
So, and I'll talk about during the show. Also in video game news, Evil Dead is out, based on one of my favorite movies, the Evil Dead franchise, Evil Dead 1 and 2, Army of Darkness, Bruce Campbell, Sam Raimi, greatest horror trilogy of all time. Even though I don't necessarily need the first movie, just give me Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness and I'm good. But the game did come out this past week, online game. I will get to that in video game news. My experience with it. And that is it for anything on any of that stuff, Trent, video game news.
I mean, it's I still can't get past the VR with the mouth thing.
The mouth haptics.
Mouth yes.
I think I'm saying that right.
You're probably not.
Mouth haptics. Mouth happening ix. That's what I would have called it.
You gave it the good college try. That's all you can do.
Mouth happening ixes.
Mouth happenings?
Mouth happening. Oh. I like that. Yeah. Sing it now. It's time. Super Radio Sports. I'm very excited about the sports trend.
Me too. I mean, we've this has been kind of you remember our last show where we kind of or one of our last shows, I should say, where we backed up doing a great program with.
Did we really? No, we didn't. Stop lying.
I know. It was a fantastic program. And what we did was we ended up kind of doing like a draft show, and the advantage of recording these on tonight was that we got our actual we have our live reactions from the Tampa Bay Lightning game and the Boston Celtics game that's currently happening right now. So you get live sports right now thanks to Super Radio Brothers, which is excellent.
Super Radio Sports, Super Radio Brothers Sports, my favorite time of year or day podcast.
Oh yeah, that's Excitement. What it's all about. Yeah.
All right, Trent. Yep. We'll put you in the driver's seat here. What's going on in
well,
the
first
world
of all, I
of
need to talk
sports.
about my Tampa Bay Lightning.
And we should say, yeah, like you said, that news broke right here on Super Radio Brothers for us because we were watching the game together, Trent.
Yeah, I know. And
I experienced that Lightning victory with you.
Yeah,
together.
and you gave some bogus Tampa Bay Lightning call, and that like the goal call. That was
you know what I felt when the Lightning dramatically, with less than a second to go, buried that puck into the net to defeat the Florida Panthers and take a commanding 2-0 lead in the second round series of the Eastern Conference Stanley Cup Finals. Do you know what I felt after that dramatic goal?
I bet your adrenaline skyrocketed.
I felt absolutely nothing, Trent. I got to tell you. I'm sorry. It did nothing for me. It did nothing for me.
I know. but if the Rangers were playing, you would
I would have got I would have been slightly more excited.
Yeah. But yeah, no, because what was happening was, the cool thing was you actually interrupted your one of your stories. You were telling a story, and all of a sudden you went, wait, and the Lightning score.
Oh yeah.
You did it like the true professional.
I tried to, yes. It was the biggest story in that moment, and I had to break it on the show for you and the audience.
I'm proud of you. You actually learned something.
I know,
sometimes
I do, Trent. Sometimes I do good. Sometimes I do good, Trent. Don't act like I don't do good sometimes. Sometimes I do good. Don't ignore it. You should praise me.
Sometimes.
Say, Rich. I need you to say, Rich, you did good.
Rich, you did good. You did pretty good.
I feel so. My goodness, the pride that is bubbling up in my heart is hard to contain. Thank you so much, Trent.
You're welcome. But anyway, let's get to the serious business. The Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yes.
They ended up winning this game. Let's kind of start there. And man, just how about it? Early on in this game, I watched pretty much the first two periods, and it was a tale of two periods. The first period, the Lightning really couldn't get much going on. I mean, Florida kind of came out and would spend a lot of time in their zone, but coming out, the Lightning they didn't panic because that's what championship caliber teams do. The Florida Panthers haven't really, besides this year, really haven't gone deep into the playoffs in a very, very long time. So, and of course, it shows how long they hadn't won the Stanley Cup. They hadn't won the Stanley Cup since the mid '90s or something like that. It's been a long time, and but anyway, the Lightning just had some trouble in their own zone, and Florida ended up trying to take advantage of that early on. They scored the first goal to take a 1-0 lead, and then Tampa Bay came back to tie it a few minutes later. And Rich, they're doing this winning without one of their biggest stars in Braden Point. We talked about it last Saturday in Game 7. Where Point actually ended up suffering a lower leg injury. And at first, everybody thought that he was day-to-day, but now people are saying, Point could be out for the majority part of this series. And all the experts were saying, well, the Lightning did miss Steven Stamkos in 2020, but, because Braden Point has been such a key in their offense this year, they're going to be in deep trouble because that's why their offense is so potent. Well, I beg to differ with you. I mean, yes, they missed Point, but it's next man up. As they say in show business, the show must go on. And the show is going on with guys like Corey Perry stepping up, with guys like Ross Colton stepping up, with Nikita Kucherov doing what he normally does in the postseason. The Lightning are deep, and they take pride in their depth. And if you're a Lightning fan, you should take pride in their depth too, because depth.
What if you're not a Lightning fan, Trent? Should I still take pride in their depth?
Yeah, I'll tell you what else to take pride in. But the Lightning, they have depth, and depth wins championships, especially in the National Hockey League. And if they played like they have the first couple games of this series, they can beat anybody that they play. So congratulations to the Bolts. They don't play again until Sunday.
Well, I agree with you, Trent, because I know your first line is good, but how good is your second line? How good is that third line? That's how you're going to win a championship. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, and the Lightning's they have several lines, and the lines that they play with are more than capable of winning.
How do I know that? I watched like one hockey game this year. It's so weird.
I'm just sitting here in stupefied disbelief that you knew that there were multiple lines in hockey.
How do I know that? Cool. Somehow I know these things. It's weird. It's almost as unexplainable as a lightning bolt destroying a toilet bowl. It's just.
Anyway, that's enough on the Lightning. We got
what about the New York Rangers? They're down 0-1 in their second round series with the Carolina Hurricanes. They did a good job during the regular season against the Rangers. The Rangers dramatically coming back in the first round against the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Penguins with a 3-1 series lead. You have Shesterkin, right? One of the top goalies in the league for the Rangers, getting pulled from 2 of those games early on. And one of those games, by the way, the first game, Shesterkin had 70-something saves, which I've never heard of. I didn't even think it was possible to save that many pucks from going in the net in a single game. So, but me as a fan that doesn't really watch regular season hockey, I just heard over and over again how good this guy is. And you get to the playoffs and he's getting pulled from games. So it looked like the Rangers were cooked, and they really, in dramatic fashion, came back down 3-1 to beat Pittsburgh in that Game 7. Not only that, but also losing in that Game 7 by a goal and tying it with less than 5 minutes to go, and then eventually winning it. So it's been a while as a Ranger fan where you had a significant victory in the playoffs that made you think, well, this team's maybe can do something, but I don't know. I just don't beyond the goalie, and he's looked really shaky in these playoffs. Supposed to be the key to the team. I just don't see the Rangers really winning anything. They weren't impressive. And then the way they blew that game against the Hurricanes in the first game, winning 1-0 late in the game, and then that was another less than 5 minutes to go, blown 1-goal lead, and they lose in overtime to the Carolina Hurricanes. I mean, who the heck are the Carolina Hurricanes? Give me a break. They shouldn't even have a team. They shouldn't even have a team in Carolina, and they dare to beat the Rangers. Disgusting, Trent.
Hey, what's so bad about the people in Carolina? They know their hockey.
There's nothing wrong with the people in Carolina, but they shouldn't have a hockey team in Carolina.
Oh, okay.
For that matter, they shouldn't have a hockey team in Tampa. Be honest with you, there's no ice in Tampa.
No, I know.
How can you play hockey when there's no ice?
Well, that's why we have ice in the arena.
It's so weird. How do they do it? It's like magic. It's not right, Trent. It's unnatural. It's unnatural. It's
very.
It's an abomination in the face.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Yep. Without question, definitely.
It's not right. It's not right.
No, it's not at all. And nothing is, especially
when you're on this show. Nothing seems right. That's true.
No.
And if it's like that, then we're doing our job.
That's true. Let's move on real quick to the now since we're talking playoffs. I think we'll leave baseball for last. Let's talk about the NBA playoffs, and of course, there's so many things happening with the complete implosion, if you will, of the Phoenix Suns in Game 7 against the Dallas Mavericks last weekend. That's kind of where I want to start there, and then we'll work our way up. But, I mean, what happened, Rich? I mean, the Phoenix Suns were one of the best teams in the NBA, had the best record in, the Western Conference for a while, and they just, whenever it got to Game 7 and whenever it got to their guys needing to step up whenever they needed to, it didn't happen. And they went out. Not only did they go down, but they went down hard.
Well, the Phoenix Suns had by far the best record in the NBA this year. 64-win team, 8 games better than the closest team behind them. And what happened in that second round was basically they had to face Luka Doncic, who's clearly one of the best players in the NBA, makes a difference on a level that few players can. You're talking about a playmaker, a scorer. I know people like to kill his defense, but you're looking at a 23-year-old kid that is playing on a team with no other superstar that just beat a 64-win team in a 7th game on the road and is in the Western Conference Finals. What this dude is doing at 23 is pretty incredible. That's the first thing. That's what happened to Phoenix. Also, what happened to Phoenix is Chris Paul had nothing left. Rinse, dry, repeat. This is a story that we've seen over and over again. He just doesn't make it. Once you get to the playoffs and you have to rely a little more physically, he gets injured. We saw it with the Houston Rockets a couple years ago. It was sickening, because I was rooting so heavily for the Rockets and Chris Paul and James Harden to knock off the Golden State Warriors. And it looked like they could. They had a 3-2 lead going into Game 6. And what happened? Chris Paul pulled hamstring. Can't play in Game 6 and 7. What happened? Warriors win Game 6 and 7. Harden didn't have enough without Paul. Paul does not. Chris Paul, they were naming him the point god right after those first 2 games where Phoenix went out there and destroyed Dallas those first 2 games. And I said it on this show, Trent. Pat Riley always says that the series really doesn't start. That's the old cliche. A series doesn't start until the home team loses a game. That hadn't happened yet, and everything changed once they got to Game 3 and they got to Dallas. And the Suns rely on that perimeter offense, that mid-range game. And the Mavericks just have guys they can throw it at you, whether defensively, whether it's a Reggie Bullock, a Finney Smith, a Brunson. All of these guys can run out and play really good perimeter defense, and it was suffocating for the Suns. Chris Paul had nothing left by the end of the series. And I think even bigger is that the Suns got a no-show from Devin Booker. And if the Suns were going to compete in that Game 7, they needed Devin Booker to be every bit the player that Luka Doncic was in that game, where he's putting up close to a triple-double, close to 40 points. And Devin Booker was an absolute no-show. I mean, he did nothing. And when you get the performances that you got out of Booker and out of Chris Paul in a Game 7 at home, he's just not going to beat a team that has a Luka Doncic on his side. Devin Booker, this guy's supposed to be one of the best players in the league. I saw people putting Devin Booker in the top 5 in MVP voting this year. His team won 64 games. Devin Booker in Game 7 at home had 11 points. 11 points. It's just not going to get it done. Chris Paul had 10 points. I mean, these... it's not. You turn around, look at the other place. Luka Doncic, 35 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists. He ripped their heart out. He took their soul. I mean, and in that game, he had a running mate. Spencer Dinwiddie, who was a big part of that trade early in the season, at the end of the year there in January, where they sent that piece of dead weight garbage, Kristaps Porzingis. They make the trade. They get him out of there. They bring in Spencer Dinwiddie. He only scored 30 points in Game 7 in Phoenix, and that was going to be the big thing. Yeah, you heard a lot of people saying that you know what, Phoenix going to win Game 7 because those those Dallas role players, they don't play the same on the road. Well, in this game, they showed up. Dinwiddie had 30 points. Brunson had 24 points. They were there to run with Luka. And Luka ultimately made it happen there. So, but Trent, for a long answer to a short question, what happened to the Phoenix Suns? 1, Luka, and 2, Booker and Chris Paul just didn't show up. They were nothing performances. And to me, I look at Phoenix now. You won 64 games this year. You were by far the best regular season team. If it didn't happen this year, it's not going to happen. And they should really think about moving on from Chris Paul and getting someone else in there that could run with Devin Booker and maybe make a difference. Because Chris Paul, we've seen it already. This over and over again. He doesn't make it to the end of the playoffs. Something always happens. There's an injury. It's just he does, and that's what happened. We saw it, Houston, Golden State a couple years ago, and we just saw it again. Now he played in the game, but he clearly had something going on. There was something wrong with him. He just wasn't the same player. Yeah, I'm not going to be surprised, Trent, if in a week from now, 2 weeks from now, sometime during the offseason, we're going to hear, oh, you know what? Chris Paul had, a calf injury. He had a pull.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to hear about some kind of injury he had. But it happens every year. So would I be shocked? No. That's what happened, Trent, to the Phoenix Suns.
Well, that was a long-winded answer, but I'll take it.
I apologize. I ran out of breath. I could have kept talking about it.
Oh, I know, but hey,
I love basketball.
Hey, I do too. I didn't say I didn't. But,
I know. I know. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to give myself an excuse for talking so long about Dallas and Phoenix.
Well, and then we also have to touch on a little bit the Celtics-Bucks Game 7. That was very interesting in itself with Giannis. I mean, he did score a lot of points. Shoot, Giannis, just what a way to go out. But nobody else was helping him. And like you and I talked about off the air, the Bucks really missed Chris Middleton during that series. And it really showed. And then you had guys like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum and Marcus Smart, I believe, got hurt during that game. Yeah. So he wasn't able to play Game 1 against Miami on Tuesday. So Marcus Smart, and of course Al Horford hasn't been playing. He's out for a little while himself. But you had guys like Derek White, you had guys like Peyton Pritchard, you had guys like Grant Williams. Williams has been around the league for a little while, and he had one of his biggest playoff games of his career, arguably his biggest playoff game of his career in Boston, was really able to shoot 3-point shots. And that's the main reason they were separated from the Heat, is because of their 3-point shooting and with the Bucks rather, is their 3-point shooting and their boxing out of not allowing the Bucks to get too many offensive rebounds. Now, they had stretches in the first half where their boxed out was not as great as it is capable of being, but when it was all said and done, Milwaukee had no answer for Boston's offense, and Milwaukee couldn't get shots to go down offensively either. Besides Giannis Antetokounmpo, I mean, who else really scored double figures? You only had maybe one or two other guys who did, and that's not going to get it done if you're Mike Budenholzer's team.
Well, Antetokounmpo definitely had a historic Game 7, near triple-double, 25 points, 20 rebounds, 9 assists. He was great. You touched on Middleton. It shows how important he is to that offense, because if you watch the playoffs last year, that's their end-of-game strategy. Antetokounmpo and Middleton pick and roll over and over again. Well, Antetokounmpo didn't have a player that's that much of a threat to run the pick and roll with, and they just had nowhere to go late in these games, and it caught up to them at the end of the series. And Drew Holiday had a decent game in Game 7, but you just needed more from everyone around Giannis. And when you look at the Celtics, it's also just the balance that you got from them. Yes, Tatum had a great game. He had the 23 points, but Williams had a surprising 27 points. Jaylen Brown added 19. Smart had the double-double with the 11 points and the 10 assists, not to mention the 7 rebounds. Pritchard with 14 points off the bench. So, those role players showed up at home in a Game 7, as you would expect, that what you would hope for if you're the Celtics and you're the home team. So, at the end of the day, they just had too much for Milwaukee without Middleton. I do think the series might have been different if Middleton is playing in the series. But I will also say that I think, especially looking at the result tonight with the Celtics destroying Miami in Game 2, 50 seconds left in this game here, Boston 127, Miami 100. I really think Marcus Smart is one of the most underrated players in the league. Just what he provides defensively on the perimeter. He's an underrated playmaker. I just told you he had 10 assists in that Game 7, and he hits big shots, and he's just a bulldog out there, So I really think Marcus Smart is an underrated point guard in the league, and his performance in Game 7, just the way he was able to do all the things that he does and fill the stat line, is again an underrated part of why the Boston Celtics move on to this Eastern Conference final that is now all knotted up at a game apiece, going to Boston.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely going to be an interesting series.
And it's many years you go to the Western Conference final, Trent. It's been a long time. I forget the exact number, but it's been a while since the number 1 or 2 seed did not advance to the Western Conference Finals, and that's the case this year. Phoenix Suns, number 1 seed, Memphis Grizzlies, number 2 seed, both get knocked out before the Western Conference Finals. you have which, I'll admit it, man. I can't stand the Golden State Warriors. I really can't. I'm a Golden State Warrior hater, and I always root for them to lose. And my dog is actually a Golden State fan, so it's just, I have to keep it down.
Yeah, because she disagree with you on that.
But that first game was awful to watch. There's no doubt. I mean, Luka for the first time in the playoffs looked pretty horrible. As a matter of fact, he was held to his lowest scoring total in the playoffs, 7 turnovers. He actually in the game had one more turnover than made field goals. So that was, by far Luka's worst game of the playoffs so far. But I still have hope, because look at how bad Dallas looked the first 2 games in the Phoenix series, and everybody was ready to bury them, And I did do a little bit of a highlight on this. I look at the Western Conference and the Eastern Conference Finals right now in the NBA, and I find it fascinating. And the reason I find it fascinating is because I really think what we're looking at here is the NBA Finals, is it going to be about the future of the NBA, or is it going to be about the past, right? If we get a Dallas Boston Celtic Finals, to me it's almost like a Magic Larry Bird type of situation where you have 2 amazing young players in Tatum and Luka going at it in the finals for their first championship. I think that would be so exciting, as opposed to Golden State again against Miami. Let's be honest, we just saw Miami in the finals a couple years ago in the bubble go down to the Lakers, and then of course all of the LeBron Wade years with the Miami Heat. We've seen plenty of the Miami Heat over the years. So to me, I'm not going to say it's unwatchable, but a Golden State Warriors Miami Heat finals would be, vomit-inducing. It would be hard for me to take. And I'll watch the games, but I'm a huge basketball fan. And Warriors Heat would be a tough series. It's just old. I've had enough of both those teams. But to see the Celtics and the Mavericks with 2 of the most exciting young players in the league competing for an NBA championship, now that would be exciting. That would be box office. So in my opinion, that's what these conference finals are about. Are the finals going to be about the future or the past of the NBA?
We'll see. Definitely should be interesting. We have Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors. Curry is just Curry has played a 6-man kind of off the bench kind of deal, and it's so he really hasn't been in the starting lineup, and but it just shows that how versatile of a player he is. And you got guys like Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. Then you have younger Golden State Warrior players as well who are also in the fold and playing roles in what they do. So that Mavericks Warriors.
Andrew Wiggins has been a huge part of what they're doing defensively, and he had 15 points by halftime. He played a lot defensively on Luka in that first half, and of course, it's very well publicized the job that Jordan Poole has done as kind of that third scoring option for Golden State. He had 19 in game 1. So look, I know. The Golden State is loaded. They are. Andrew Wiggins was a lottery pick, okay, and he's a role player on this Golden State Warriors team, and Jordan Poole has come out of nowhere to be one of the best bench players in the league, and he's going to be a starter real soon. So there's no doubt they are loaded. They have more talent than Dallas. Dallas does have Luka though, and that dude is dangerous. So we just saw Dallas lose the first 2 games against Phoenix. I don't think it's the end of the world that they lost the first game against Golden State. We'll see, but I am rooting heavily against Golden State.
All right, and let's move on to the baseball. We're moving right along here. Let's move right to the Major League Baseball side of things. The Tampa Bay Rays had an interesting week. They won both their series. They took 2 out of 3 from the Toronto Blue Jays and 2 out of 3 from the Detroit Tigers. Just off nights, which you're going to have in Major League Baseball. They fell to Toronto on Saturday by a 5-1 count, and just couldn't get anything going. Vlad Guerrero Jr. was in that game, really playing well, and just the pitching for the Rays just couldn't do it, couldn't hold it. And I think it was the night that Ryan Yarbrough pitched, if I'm not mistaken. And then on Monday, the Tampa Bay Rays lose a tough game. I mean, Detroit took a lead, and then Tampa Bay came back to tie it. And in the top of the ninth inning, they hit a solo home run. Castro hit a solo home run to give Detroit a 3-2 lead, and that was that. But on Tuesday, they defeated the Detroit Tigers by an 8-1 count, and then on Wednesday, they defeated them by a 6-1 count. So they scored 14 runs within their last couple of games. Drew Rasmussen had a great start on the mound for the Tampa Bay Rays. He had a career-high 20 swings and misses, and his ball-to-strike ratio was incredible, and he clearly threw more strikes than he did balls. And when you do that, you're more than likely going to have an outing. The only regret that I have is his pitch count was definitely increased early on, and if it wasn't so increased, and if it wasn't so ballooned between the first couple of innings with Detroit hitters kind of extending at bats thanks to foul balls, or he did give up a couple of walks or he did give up a few hits rather, but if he could have eliminated at least one or two of those, I could have easily seen Rasmussen get into the seventh inning like Shane McClanahan did the other night. So you got to look. The Rays are in second place. The Yankees are extraordinarily hot right now. But if the Rays keep winning series, and I say this every week, but if they keep winning series, and still like I said, with the Lightning, it's a next man up mentality for the Rays too. They've got some injuries they're dealing with. Brandon Lau and Manuel Margot are on the injured list, and we don't know when either one of them will be back. We got some optimistic news on Brandon Lau. Hopefully Lau can return, and just depends on his activity. And Margot, he's inching closer and closer to returning. That's most of the Rays lineup as it is. So look, if the Rays keep doing what they're doing, they'll be in good shape.
Yeah, you definitely got to give the Rays credit as far as the Yankees are off to not just a good start, but a historically good start. I mentioned at the beginning of the show that the 98 Yankees, who overall, if you factor in the postseason, won more games than anybody ever did. 114 regular season games, 125 and 50 when you add in the playoffs. I know I think it was 2000 or 2001, Seattle Mariners actually went out and won 116 games. Ichiro led Seattle Mariners, but they lost in the playoffs against who, Trent? The New York Yankees, before the Yankees would go on and win another World Series. But, Yankees are off to a historic start. That 98 Yankee team they were 31-9 to start the year. Right now the Yankees are 28-10. So it's one of the best starts in the history of the sport, quite frankly. And if you're the Rays, you're still only 5 games back. So you've held your own. You're not getting wiped out here. You're still within striking distance. You're not the Toronto Blue Jays right now, who are 8 games back of the New York Yankees in the division. So, the Rays are one good week away and one bad week from the Yankees away from being right back into the whole conversation for the division. And you want to talk about winning series. Well, that's what the Yankees do. The Yankees have lost one series the entire season. I think it was at this point it's 11-1-1, and that one series loss was against the Baltimore Orioles, which is so frustrating because the Orioles stink. But Yankees take 3 out of 4 against the Orioles this week. It basically took heaven and earth for the Orioles, moving heaven and earth for the Orioles to win that final game of the series early Thursday, where they get the walk-off home run from Santander, who has pretty much killed the Yankees this year, really. Seems like every time Santander gets up, he gets another extra base hit. He gets the walk-off three-run home run in the 9th inning to halt the Yankee winning streak. But look, Yankees have been getting it done. Just took a series from the White Sox, took a series from the Blue Jays, direct competitors, and take 3 out of 4 from Baltimore before playing the White Sox again over the weekend at the stadium in the Bronx. But, of course, there are so many stories. I mean, aside from the Yankees having one of the best ERAs in baseball, best bullpen in baseball numbers-wise, they're right up there in home runs with the Houston Astros, 1 and 2, most home runs hit so far this year. Anthony Rizzo has 10. Giancarlo Stanton with 10, and of course, the most impressive of them all. And we talked about it here before. Is he still? Do you still think he was dumb for not signing a contract at the beginning of the year? Aaron Judge, Major League Baseball best, 14 home runs. I mean, the guy is unbelievable right now, and he puts together great at bats, and he is a force. I mean, that lineup is pretty good, and you gotta when you talk about Donaldson at third base, he's been on base, I think, 22 straight games. And LeMahieu's given you a great season. And Gleyber Torres has been clutch, it seems, almost every game. So, look, it's early. But at the same time, you're getting to the part of the season where you should be getting a feel for your baseball team and what they're going to do. And there are a couple more things with the Yankees here. One thing that cannot be ignored. The Yankees have had a rough couple of years here, whether it's the shortened year or last year. But one thing that can't be ignored is it's been a long time since the Yankees have had a season where they were healthy, where the guys who were signed and they're supposed to be playing baseball are actually on the field for this team. They have had, and knock on wood, but the Yankees have been horrific the last couple of years as far as their health. So far this year, I mean, everybody is healthy and ready to go and getting out there and playing baseball like they're supposed to. And that's resulted in big-time wins, And you could talk about, well, Yankees are beating Baltimore. They're beating the Guardians, Well, White Sox supposed to be a pretty good team. I know they're only 500 right now, but they're supposed to have a better record than that. Part of the reason they don't have a better record than that is because they played the Yankees. The Yankees went out there, they beat the White Sox in Chicago. You know what? Blue Jays were supposed to be world beaters this year. Yankees went out there and had 2 good series against the Blue Jays already this year so far. Blue Jays are 8 games out of first place. Yankees haven't played the Rays yet. That hasn't happened yet, and that'll be interesting because the way you look at it right now, the only team in striking distance in the division are the Tampa Bay Rays. And smoke and mirrors, I mean, it is a mystery how this team on that payroll with those players every single year find a way to be relevant. It is one of the greatest mysteries in sports, how the Tampa Bay Rays win games during the regular season. But they're doing it again. They're right there. They're 5 games out, so you got to give them credit. And it'll be interesting to see. Look, they always give the Yankees a heck of a time, especially when the games are in Tampa. So, and that's coming up in a week here. And we'll see where the teams are at after that series. So we got to see the Yankees play the Rays. But so far, a historically great start. And it's been a lot of fun to watch, man. I mean, did Aaron Judge just hit another home run? I think so. My goodness. Wow. They are playing unbelievable baseball right now. It's fun to watch.
Absolutely. And that does it for the sports.
What? We should talk about, I think Tiger Woods is going to... No, I'm just kidding.
It's time to sit down and unwind and listen to the Couch Report.
Don't worry, Trent. I'm not going to talk golf. I'm not into it.
That would put me to sleep.
Yeah, at this point, it's the end of the show. We don't want to talk golf. We're not into that. We're not trying. Maybe if we would have got into it at the beginning of the show, Tiger about to play in his second major since coming back. But I'm not.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm not down with that, yo. I'm not down.
Something talk maybe save for next week.
All right. Well, especially if he wins, we'll talk about it. That's not going. Spoiler alert. That's not going to happen.
No,
all right,
that ain't happening.
Couch Report. I know it was a big week for you. A lot of off the couch stuff to talk about. Tell us about it.
Well, of course, we didn't do a couch report a week or so ago because we weren't on. So I got a couple of weeks of material here. I'm going to try to cram in, but I want to talk about my graduation. I definitely want to talk about that. I gave the commencement speech. That was a great time. I was very honored to address the graduating class of 2022 of the spring semester. And I got to tell you, man, giving a commencement speech in public is not like speaking on the radio. Trust me. I mean, unlike the radio, people can see you and they're looking straight at you. And even if I can't see, even though I don't see it,
Why don't you describe that a little, Trent, as a blind man being on stage? And because just watching the video, it's quite impressive. And there's no doubt, dude, there are a lot of eyes on you, behind you, in front of you, the people who are sitting behind you, the graduates, teachers. I see their reactions to the things that you're saying. I mean, that's got to be pressure packed. Like, what was the feeling being on there on stage? What did you feel?
It was like being in a pressure cooker, if you know what that feels like. I mean, it was.
I've never been in a pressure cooker, but I have eaten things that were.
I mean, I have too, but I mean, I can't.
Now I'm starving.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's true. But no, it was. I mean, and I felt the heat too from the lights, so that had something to do with it. I just, I told myself, I said, hey, look, there are going to be people looking at you, but if you just calm down and just remember what you practiced and just really speak slowly and make sure that the audience hits on every word that you're saying, you're going to be fine. And that's what I did. That's why I slowed down. And after I said something or after I made a point, I paused, not just to get my thoughts together, but I paused just so the audience can follow me, because you don't want to breeze through a commencement speech like that. Because, I mean, I've heard that. I've heard people breeze through commencement speeches, and I'm sitting there going, what was the point of this after it's over? And supposedly nobody thought that about my speech, which I'm grateful for. Because I slowed down.
I spoke to 3 people who felt that way, Trent, but the majority of the people really enjoyed it, just so you know.
3 people?
Yeah, 3 people were like, that. I spoke to 3 people, Trent, and they were like, Trent's speech sucked. And I was like,
I'm
dude,
sure.
Yeah, I was like, dude, calm down. But the majority of the people thought it was good.
Though. I mean, like, if you were up there, like that's what all the graduates would be saying. Like, what am I getting out of this? Or what am I getting out of this?
I literally got 0 out of this. What is he talking about?
What is he talking about? I got nothing out of this. What was the original intent of this?
Dude, I would be talking about 60-year-old French fries and how they taste. My commencement speech would be terrible.
I know, and then you'd be talking about like the '98 Yankees and how they were winning games.
It'd be French fries and the '98 Yankees. That's it. That's all I got.
Nobody gives a damn.
That's all I got,
dude. About that. But yeah, I mean, but it's, but yeah, it was really cool. Enjoyed it. Definitely. It was nice and something I'll never forget. So, and something that will always live on because it's on YouTube. If you go to South Florida State College's YouTube channel, you can find me. I spoke in
Trent,
ceremony.
Let me just let me stop you right there. You don't have to do all that. Go to Super Radio Brothers Facebook page to see Trent's commencement speech. It's right there. Just go to our Facebook.
You posted it.
Yeah,
Okay.
go to Super Radio Brothers social media. You're gonna find Trent's commencement speech right there. You go to Super Radio Brothers Facebook. It is there. It's amazing. He has really cool stuff to say. It's a heart-pounding moment. Just imagine yourself in his shoes to give a speech like that with that many people watching you. And, and obviously big part of it, as you said, you can get up there and say things that mean nothing to people, but you actually got up there and you said things that were pretty powerful, man, and impressive. It was good.
Yeah, and I paid tribute to my father at the end. My father did pass away in October of last year, and that's why it meant even more to me, because the goal going into it was I wanted to pay tribute to him, because one of his goals for me was to graduate with a degree, and thankfully I was able to accomplish that, and I felt him with me, if you will, whenever I was doing it. So that was that was even more comforting, because
wow.
I could feel him with me while I was up there.
That's amazing. I gotta say, Trent, my favorite part of the speech was probably when that part when you broke into and talking about, you were like, well, if I were to think about the coolest people in the universe, I would think of Rich Carroll. And I was like, whoa, in the universe? Whoa. That's pushing it a bit much. Maybe the world, but you said I was the coolest in the universe. So I was like, this is my favorite part of the speech.
Maybe the coolest person in your house, per se. But I mean,
how dare you? Sharon's going to be pissed, dude. I'm definitely not the coolest person in this house, but maybe the universe, you know, is
no. As long as you have that self-awareness, that's okay.
Yeah. I'm self-aware, awaredly awesome, if that's good English, Mr. College graduate.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'm self-awaredly awesome.
You gave it a try. But it's fine for 11:30 on a Thursday night if you're listening to this podcast. But yeah, no, it's you know, and then I also ended up. I wanted to kind of reflect on a visit that I had with a couple of friends of mine that came down from Pennsylvania. They came down to watch the California Toe Jam Band play their season finale back on May 7th. There's something I wanted to also talk about. I played tour guide, Rich, you know, a blind person giving people tours. That was pretty interesting. But it was two good friends of mine that have been listening to me, have heard me on satellite radio, call into a radio program for many years, and they found out about my band, and they wanted to hear the band, and so they just flew down for a couple days, and I had the opportunity to give them tours and to kind of, you know, show them around where I live. And it's a good friend of mine, Sarah Campbell, and her father Frank came down as well. Two great people, and they enjoyed the band. Of course, they enjoyed the drummer. I wonder who that drummer was. I don't know.
The chicks love the drummers, Trent. It's either the lead singer or the drummer that they're into. Trust me, I was in the band.
Oh, yeah, I know. Weren't you the lead singer?
Yeah, I was the singer, so I was lucky in that sense. But I wasn't the drummer. Okay. Sometimes, really, in reality, the drummer gets all the chicks.
Oh, yeah.
Chicks love the drummer.
For sure.
Uh-oh, we're having a connection snafu. And Freya's pissed about it. She's like, Trent's breaking up. Time to stop the show.
Yep. Am I breaking up still?
Oh no, you're back. Freya fixed it. The dog fixed it. So.
No, thank you, Freya. I appreciate it. If she can hear me, tell her thank you.
Thank you, Freya. This is a good girl. Is this a good girl? Okay, all right. This is I'm glad that you're a good girl. All right. Thank you for contributing.
She's excited.
She's contributing to the show right now. This is her content.
That's amazing.
Okay, good for you, Freya.
Yeah, you can ask her. You can ask her about the Buccaneers, and you can ask her about so many other things. The Yankees and just everything. But no, I back to the couch report. I do have to say that it was a great time giving those guys tours, and they said that this will not be their first time back, so they'll be back again, and looking forward to seeing them as they come. But two great guests, and Sarah and I have been friends for a long time, and she's one of the nicest people you'll meet. So
that's awesome.
It was a memorable weekend.
One of the great things, and you'll always remember it. One of the great things about experiencing what you just experienced, graduating, doing something great, like delivering a commencement speech, isn't necessarily what you did. It's enjoying that experience with people that you love and people that mean something to you. And that's part of what you'll remember. Not just what you accomplished, but the people you shared that accomplishment with, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that. That makes total sense. But other than that, that's basically my couch report. Oh, I do need to let you know that I will be at Game 4 of the Tampa Bay Lightning Florida Panthers game on Monday. So if the Lightning win on Sunday and they go up 3-0, Rich, we could see an advance on Monday night whenever I am at Emily Arena. Can you believe that? That would be
that's exciting. You get be a part of a clinching game. That would be pretty great. Let's see. I'm not going to go too deep into too much here. We've been rocking for long enough. I will say Doctor Strange came out, Multiverse of Madness. I loved it. You want to get my full review? Check out the review, the video on YouTube, on Super Radio Brothers Facebook, all the social media. It's available there. You'll get my full 8-minute review on Doctor Strange, which, again, I'm not going to get into it, but I thought it was freaking awesome. I loved it. Also, Moon Knight is over. My episode 6 review is up right now on YouTube. A couple of other videos up there that we want you to check out. Trent has a Super Radio Brothers highlights video up as well right now about the Tampa Bay Lightning. So definitely check all that out. I'll throw in there, I'm not going to get into it, but Star Trek Strange New Worlds has dropped on Paramount Plus. 2 episodes. The 3rd is out now. Again, I really dig it. It's really cool. Maybe one of these episodes coming up here in the future, I'll be able to get into it a little bit more. But and I haven't put out a highlight on Strange New Worlds yet, but I want to. So maybe after the 3rd episode of Strange New Worlds, maybe I'll put out a highlight that kind of talks about the first 3 episodes, and just kind of really talk about why I love the continuing voyages of the Starship Enterprise. So really pumps me up. But I guess the main thing I'll tell you here as we get ready to end the show is Trent is going to a huge a Game 4 in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Tampa Bay Lightning, Florida Panthers. Lightning, yes, hold a commanding 2-0 lead in that series. But as we know in hockey, that's not a safe lead. So definitely a lot to watch and anticipate in that series. But I am getting my ass out of Flagler County next weekend, the holiday weekend, and I'm going to head down to Tampa Bay and enjoy, Trent, the second game of the series between the second place Tampa Bay Rays and your first place New York Yankees at the Trop. I don't know what the pitching matchups are yet, but since I've been in Florida, it'll be the second baseball game I go to, and I'm very pumped up about it. We'll make a weekend of it, get out there in Tampa and, enjoy the city, enjoy the restaurants, and, of course, you got to enjoy a baseball game as the Yankees are in town to take on their rival, their closest competitor right now, the second place Tampa Bay Rays, who will be competing. It seems like we'll be the team competing for the division along with the Yankees as we move forward this year and get closer and closer to September. So very excited about that, Trent, to go check out the Yankees and the Rays next weekend.
Yeah, and you're not very far away from me either, so that should be interesting. The downside is I knew you were coming, so I wasn't going to be down where I live either this weekend.
Rich Carroll's coming. There goes the neighborhood.
There goes the neighborhood. I'm gone. Bye. See ya.
It's all over. Speaking of it's all over, Trent, it's all over.
Oh, man. This thing went by fast.
It did. It was a lot of fun. It was a fun show. Any last words from you as we get ready to wrap it up here?
2 words. Go Bolts.
Go Bolts. And by the way, you know what? I'm going to do the same thing, Trent. Go Yankees. Enough said. In the words of Bob Dylan, time is an ocean, but it ends at the shore. The Super Radio Brothers have finally reached the shore. See ya!
Bye.